Very honestly, you know what the first thing I wanted to do was when I got up here? I don't know if I can do it now because so many of you are hanging out in the back. I was going to turn around and do a selfie right here to have proof of the crowd, because I read this article coming over here about how there was going to be 400 people in a 900-person occupancy building, which I thought was very typical of media coverage thus far relative to those men and women who have put their life and time on the line to bring these issues to the forefront. Right there? All right, does that help? Closer is better. I want to first remark, can you believe that we even have to be here? No. Think about this for a moment. Right now, the man who we have come to celebrate is dead. There are men in jail in Nevada. Now, any of you who have met those who are subject to the prosecution by the government right now, any of you who have met Jeanette Finicum or LaVoy's children, you know that there's something different about them. That LaVoy should not be dead, that his wife should not be carrying on his legacy or have to, because he should be doing it. Have you met Ammon Bundy? The man should not be in jail. He should be with his children. And the fact that they are where they are right now is truly unbelievable to me. I don't care what political spectrum you come from. You have to notice there's something different about these people. And yet here we are today, trying to make the best we can of a very unfortunate circumstance. And I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve, to have served both the Bundy family and the Finicum family as their attorney. I'm grateful to be able to help out Jeanette with her BLM case, which is, you know, being an attorney sometimes is not always that exciting. It's grueling work. It's reading a lot of stuff. It's spending a lot of time going through very tedious discovery information and appearing day after day in a courtroom where the government doesn't want you to win and will do everything they can to make sure you don't. But fortunately, where is Jeff Vanta? Where's Ken Medenbach? Are they still here tonight?
Not guilty!
That's right. Not guilty. You gotta love that Shauna
Had to do it, guys.
Neil Wampler, is he here tonight as well?
He is.
Excellent. What a privilege it was to sit in that courtroom for those many months, and then to have the opportunity to get out and help the Finicum family. How many of you have read your Bible lately? I have to admit, before I became an attorney, I was an activist. And I spent 16 years in politics thinking I could do something to make a difference. I served in the Utah State Legislature for a while. I got out. It's what motivated me to become an attorney. And I thought that I could, you know, spend some time trying to liberate the captive. I've spent a lot of time trying to change the system, and one thing has become abundantly clear. You can't do it through one particular person or by even electing a particular person. It requires a different kind of effort. And I want to bring a little bit of that up before I get into some elements of the future pending case. There's a great section in 1 Kings 21. You ever heard of Naboth? How about Naboth's vineyard? Anyone? Naboth's vineyard. Okay. Naboth was a landowner, and he had a very beautiful vineyard. And the king of Israel at the time was Ahab. And Ahab saw his vineyard, and he wanted it. And so he went to Naboth and he said, hey, I will give you money or another piece of land for your vineyard. And Naboth refused him. And so Ahab went home, and his wife, appropriately named Jezebel for some reason, you can't make this stuff up, right? Says to him, what are you upset about? And he says, well, Naboth will not sell me his vineyard. And Jezebel says, don't worry. So Jezebel goes out and she says, bring Naboth in front of the people and send these two men to accuse him. Call him a man who blasphemes the Lord. And then they will take him and stone him to death. And they did. The two men went out. They accused Naboth. And he was taken before the people and stoned and killed. And guess who got his vineyard? Ahab got Naboth's vineyard. Now similarly, if you go over to Nehemiah, in Nehemiah you have the people of the Jews lamenting that their children are being born into bondage and into slavery, that they have no more land to call their own because their land has been mortgaged by who? Their government. And now they're paying taxes to the government in an effort to preserve their own land. Our situation today is not unique. I want to read you one more thing from 1768. This comes from a guy named Silas Downer. Now I could replace just a couple words in here, and it would sound almost exactly like the predicament Western landowners face today, or as the government would like to call you, a permittee. We, His Majesty's subjects who live remote from the throne and are inhabitants of a new world, are here met together to dedicate the Tree of Liberty. On this occasion, we cheerfully recognize our allegiance to our sovereign Lord, George III, King of Great Britain, and Supreme Lord of these dominions, but utterly deny any other dependence on the inhabitants of that island than what is mutual and reciprocal between all mankind. It is good for us to be here, to confirm one another in the principles of liberty, and to renew our obligations to contend earnestly therefore. Now, just like in 1768, as they began to lament the imperial control of American lands, so Western landowners for generations have lamented federal control. And we finally, after a fairly long respite, after the Sagebrush Rebellion, got a group of men who were willing to stand up and engage in direct action to do something about that. And that was not received well by the federal government. But direct action is simply one element of what must be done. Direct action alone is not enough. One, it's going to take a fairly large critical mass for it to work. I want to propose to you that there are a few things that also need to go along with that direct action. And specifically, if you're going to engage in direct action, there are multiple types of political action that must take place alongside of it. So first, most of you are here today, I assume, to get a little bit informed, or to get somebody else who's with you informed. Perhaps to take the information that you glean to someone else and inform them. You know, there's a great leader I look up to who says, first you get informed, second you get educated, and third you get organized. Well, after you've gotten a little bit informed, you need to get your neighbors educated and informed. And let me ask you something. I have a good friend who helped participate in the Bundy trial. He's not here tonight. His name is Rick. And along with Marcus Mumford, who was co-counsel and incredible attorney in the Bundy trial as well. And these two gentlemen put in an unbelievable amount of time. Marcus, of course, got tased, as you know, and tackled by federal marshals for his work and is now being prosecuted by the government for his activism and representation of the Bundys in court. My friend Rick told me, he said, look, I've got a metaphor that I use to represent kind of what the problem is that we have with the government today. And he uses the days of the week as this metaphor. And I'm going to start with Tuesday, because I want you to think about Monday when we come back to it, to give you an idea of the challenges we face. Tuesday, I'll use to represent civics. Who teaches civics in America today, generally? What do you think? Where do most people learn of civics? I'll use Tuesday because Tuesday is the day we vote. Wednesday. Let's use Wednesday to represent health and wellness. Well, who controls the health and wellness industry in America today? Okay, Thursday. Let's use Thursday to represent banking and the economy. Who controls the economy in America today? All right, Friday. Let's use arts and culture for Friday. That's date night, right? Who controls arts and culture in America today? Saturday. That's the day we all recreate, right? We go to the beach, we go to the lake, we go camping. How many of you have been camping in a wilderness area lately? Who controls our recreation today? I have camped for 16 years in the high Uintas of the Utah wilderness. And just recently they've enacted this rule that you can't camp within a quarter mile of a body of water. In this place I've been camping for 16 years. How about Sunday? What does Sunday represent? Religion, right? Who controls religion in America today? You might be thinking your church. What is your church today in America?
501c3.
It's a 501c3 organization designated under the IRS code.
Sorry, trying to be quiet.
Monday. What is Monday?
Work day.
Monday's education. This is a tough one. Who runs education in America today?
Government.
Where are we sending our kids 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, to the very government that is incarcerating these men and women, killing them, and taking our land? And we wonder why our kids are growing up having a hard time understanding liberty. Now that's something I'm going to let you think on, and I'm not going to talk too much more about it because it tends to create a little controversy. And I don't like to be too controversial. But think about that. Because if you want a change, you better start thinking about who's educating your kids.
Amen.
Now, we've worked on behalf of Jeanette recently to try and help her with her situation with the BLM, because after her husband was killed, and after the men who joined with him at the Malheur Refuge, sorry, Ken, if you're here, the Harney County Resource Center. After all that, the BLM still decided to refuse a widow her permit. And to this day, in spite of Arizona state law and federal law, which acknowledges she has a right to continue to use that permit, they have continued to deny her her right to graze. Now that's a serious problem. And it goes back to the challenge of getting informed, getting educated, and getting organized. Because when you begin to think about those things, direct action, as I mentioned, is not enough. There must also be political action. There must also be legal action. And I know what you're thinking, the system is corrupt. Now I want to try and draw a distinction between a corrupt system or a corrupt person and a systemically corrupt system, okay? And our justice system can be looked at a little bit as systemically corrupt. But guess what? Thank goodness for that Oregon jury, because it found those men in that first trial not guilty. That's right, Shauna. And Shauna. Love you, Shauna. I sat right in front of Shauna every day, and every time I turned around, she was smiling. So you women know things we don't, that's for sure. In spite of all, and just to give you an idea, the judge in the Oregon case refused to let Ryan Bundy read the Constitution in court. One day, this is not a joke, one day he tried to read scripture, and she said, there will be no reading of scripture in my courtroom. And I couldn't help but think of like the Dark Ages when only the priests could read the Bible, right? All you lay people, stop trying to read that Constitution. And that's what it felt like. But I want you to realize something. The Oregon case had a lot of lawyering that went on. And as much as we hate lawyers, I know they're fun to joke about, it was a lot of work. Marcus Mumford, who was first chair in the trial, was up, just like me and Rick, pretty much every night till about 4 a.m. He'd then wake up, and he'd be at the courthouse by 8, ready to go to trial every day for 2 months. Matt Schindler, who was an incredible attorney out of Oregon, worked incredibly hard. Bob Salisbury, Lisa Maxfield, all of them, Tiffany Harris, Shauna Cox, who represented herself, Ryan Bundy, who represented himself, the hours that went into the legal work to make that happen was significant. And if you think for one moment that we can just drop the ball on all the political and legal organizing that needs to happen, you're in for some sad results in the future, because we have to get behind every single one of those efforts, just like the other side of the fence has done. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate Jeanette Finicum's willingness to do that. She has been willing to carry on the legacy of her husband, not just through events like this, but she's also fighting the BLM legally. I need to end because Chris Ann Hall's a better speaker than I am, and she should be up here. And so should the Finicum family, because I know that's who you really want to hear from. Let me give you one more challenge. How many of you remember what Senator Wyden said?
We are the virus.
Yeah. They needed to stop the virus from spreading. And that was said prior to them coming here to John Day, Oregon. Not only that, but Governor Brown had an assistant within her office, and they did an information dump after the death of LaVoy. And in that, we found emails from her staff saying that they should stop them at the exact place that they did. That was Governor Brown's office, because they wanted to stop the virus from spreading. Now, what she doesn't realize is you're not the virus. You're the cure. And you have an obligation. You have an obligation. The cure was meant to come here 1 year ago. And you need to take it everywhere from here. That is your obligation. To spread the cure, which is liberty, right? An individual liberty at that, to the rest of this county, until those people who made that comment and forced that stop no longer hold office in this state. And thank goodness for that Oregon jury. Let's make it so that every jury is filled with jurors like that. You are the cure. Spread it far and wide. and you're going to have to organize, get informed, get educated, and get organized.
Well, I guess I'm the one. Maggie, could I have you come help me, please? Dad said it's okay. Guess I'm the one that has to eat my words. We found two good attorneys. Thank you, Morgan Philpott. I appreciate it. We found the cure. It's right here. We have, if you have a ticket, you might want to grab it.
I lost my ticket. Oh, I think I
Because
lost
you
my
could be
Well, it
wearing
fell down
got
when
one
my...
Vanna White. What do you think of that? Forget that.
It's okay.
Forget Vanna White. I got Tarantino. You don't need Vanna White.
It might be in here somewhere.
Oh, now
I
what
have
to
it.
do?
I have it.
You pulled two? Disqualified. All right. 3-6, 3-5, 2-6. Come on down and get your cap. All right. Now she's drawing. What's next? A book. 3-6, 3-4, 9-9. 3-6, 3-4, 9-9. Oh, here she comes. All right. What are we doing? Blue tarp. Signed by all people participating in this evening's activities. 3-6, 3-1, 5-7. 3-6, 3-1, 5-7. You don't have to go kicking no doors down, no gates open. Just come get your blue tarp. I'll be sitting right here by it. Anybody? Blue tarp going once, twice. All right, Maggie. You know what? We should just auction this puppy off. No, we bought raffle tickets. 36, 34, 84. All right, thank you. Another book. 3-6, 3-2-5-0. 3-2-5-0 for your book. Anybody? Throw your hand up. One more time. 3-6, 3-2-5-0. Three, 6, 3-5, 3-8. 3-5, 3-8. Here we go. Excellent. Framed picture of LaVoy Finicum. 36, 73. 36, 36, 73. Really? We got one right. Oh, look at there. She's excited now. Another framed picture of LaVoy on the range. Last four numbers, 3475. That's the kind of excitement I expect to see right there. That's an A for the day. Another blue tarp. Last four numbers, 3269. 3269. 3269. Just dawned on me, I got a ticket in my pocket. Nope, not yet. $3-7, 3729. Right here, we got a winner. All right, one picture left.
Portland team.
Sure. This picture's special. This is a tradition in the Finicum family to have all of the children and the parents on a horse for a family portrait. LaVoy's oldest sister, Sherry, was the mastermind behind this picture because she not only had to keep all these children looking in the same direction, but she had to have all the horses' ears and attention as well. And so this is our family portrait, Finicum style, on horseback. Last item up for draw.
And the jubilation will be coming from the person that has 3261. All right. Thank you, one and all. Pick up my mess. I think that's all the housekeeping for now. Gentlemen, we, as ranchers, business owners, fathers, whatever the case may be, like to talk about the cowboy way and the things that we do. But the truth of the matter is, rural America would not be what it is without the pillars of every family from coast to coast, including my family with my mother and my wife's mother. It is the women of the farm and ranch families that have made us the great nation in the world when it comes to remaining rooted in what's important. And I know of no better poster child for all of that than the role model I'm about to bring up to here, Jeanette Finicum. Please give her your appreciation.
Thank you so much for coming and honoring our family. You know, this past year has been a very difficult one for all of us. But because of the love and support that we have felt from all of you, we have been able to endure. And I have to thank you so very much for all that you have done for us in all the various ways that you have. I would like to take a moment just to say how much I am grateful for my Heavenly Father who loves me, who knows me individually. I'm grateful for my Savior, Jesus Christ. He has carried me this entire year. He has comforted me, and He has buoyed me up and carried me when I needed it. I am grateful for my faith in God. I'm grateful for my faith in my Savior. I'm grateful for the plan of salvation, for the plan of happiness in our faith that we call it. Because it tells me, it reminds me that I will see and be with my husband again for all time and for all eternity. And because I know that, I have peace. Because I know that, I can be happy. Because I know that, I can keep moving. I want to take a moment to also thank my family. For my in-laws who surprised me coming tonight. it is because of who they are that I was lucky enough to get the best man ever on this earth, LaVoy. I'm grateful for my brother-in-laws, Jody and Guy, who have helped pick us up off the ground this last year, and who have been surrogate dads and grandpas to my family. I'm grateful to my kids. By your fruits you shall know them. And if you have the pleasure of meeting my 12 children, you will know my husband, LaVoy, because that was what he dedicated his life to, was his family, to teaching and raising each one of them. And even after most were married and moved on, he devoted his time to them whenever they needed him. Down with the mic. Can you hear me back there? I have to get it closer. Okay. I have watched my children step up to the plate. I've watched them in their own way, and each of them have special talents, and they've been able to go and share it with you all across the country. You know, there's that, I often say that they silenced one man's voice, but in doing so, they created 13 more very loud voices. I want to say thank you to John Day. You guys are amazing. I have had the pleasure, my kids and I have had the pleasure to meet with Elaine and her husband and the committee that has helped us put this together. Please give them a round of applause. Dave and Ted and all of the other members of that committee, thank you so much. I want to do a special thank you. And this person doesn't know I'm going to do this. But this young boy has followed our family all year. He got a cow and he raised it and he showed it and he won prizes. Riley, are you out there? Riley, do you want to come up? This little boy is the sweetest little boy. Come on up, Riley. He came to my hotel room and his mom and him made me a blanket. He picked out some beautiful little things. He's been sending me things all year long. He sends me little notes and pictures of all the things that he's doing in school. The cow that he raised, you called it LaVoy, right? Yeah. He was in the newspaper for raising this cow. And then he brought me a picture this time with him and that LaVoy cow. And so I have a picture for him of LaVoy with the first cow that he branded. And I wanted you to Thank you, Riley. That's our hope. Right there, that's our hope.
Little smile on his face.
I also wanted to give a great big huge shout out to all of our speakers tonight, and don't forget we still have Chris Ann Hall. So thank you to Morgan and to Bill and to Garrett and to Kate and to Chris. And I know I have forgotten somebody. Yes, and Trent. Hasn't he been great? These are truly great patriots, educators, lovers of liberty. They're taking the time out of their day, out of their week, out of their year, touring around, speaking and teaching and educating all of us on the principles of liberty. That is what is important, and I am so grateful that they honored us by coming here today and sharing their talents with us. Thank you so much. I would like to talk about the wonderful outcome of the trial, about Oregon's Federal District Court jury finding all the defendants in the first trial not guilty of all charges.
Do it.
Our family is truly grateful that some of them have been able to return home to their families, and we are praying for all of those who are still incarcerated unjustly for their immediate release. And we hope for the same outcome for the next 7 that are still on trial and for those in Nevada. The courts here in Oregon first tried those who they considered were the leaders. LaVoy being the media spokesman for the group. If his right to life, due process, and a fair trial would not have been taken from him, he too would have been tried in that first group of leaders, and he too would have been able to return home, acquitted of all charges, returned home a free man. LaVoy's inalienable right to life was robbed from him merely for doing that which our nation's rule of law safeguards for its citizens, which is the right to peacefully assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances. He was not afforded due process. That is unacceptable. I have a statement that I'm going to read, and it's in reference to our wrongful death suit. Lawyers for the family have filed a notice of administrative claim with the United States government as a precursor to filing a federal civil rights lawsuit. This procedural requirement of first giving the FBI notice of our intent to sue them has caused a short delay in the actual filing of one collective lawsuit. While we could have filed our wrongful death lawsuit against the state of Oregon, it is more efficient to wait a short while longer to include the FBI in one lawsuit with all parties. As soon as the U.S. government denies our notice of administrative claim, which they customarily do, we will proceed with the filing of a single federal lawsuit combining all of the parties involved. I hope that this statement that my lawyers have prepared and Morgan's update about the BLM issue helps to answer some of the questions that you may have. for our family in this process. It is a long road, but it is the road that we, our family, is prepared to make. We will continue, and we thank you for the support that you offer us in that journey. This is awkward holding these mics right here. I hope that you guys can still hear me. I wanted to talk a little bit about who my husband was, and most of you have gotten to know him through the videos, or you knew him in person. He was a man of God. He was a man who loved his God. He honored him in every way. He was a man who loved his family. He loved his life, and he lived every day to its fullest. He loved to play and to tease. He loved to work hard. He spent years loving and teaching disadvantaged young teenage boys. He loved his neighbor, and he gave freely of what he had. I watched him do that hundreds of times. He had a dream to own a ranch, and he realized it. He loved his cows. He was strong and courageous. He was principled. He was trustworthy. He was my friend. He loved his freedom, his agency, which was given to him by God. He loved living in America, and he knew he was blessed to be here. He loved this country, and he stood for liberty when he was called. He stood when he was called. A lot of people ask, why did he come to Oregon? And I have a little clip, and I would like LaVoy to answer that for you.
Following what's happening over in Bend, Oregon with that ranching family over there, the Hammond family, and I'm pretty upset with what the BLM has done to them. Actually, I'm really angry. They had a prescribed burn that was allowed, got off onto 100 acres, burned 100 acres of BLM. Just rangeland, you know, 100 acres. They'll come back just as green next year as ever. They threw him in jail. They fined him tremendous amount of fines. And now it looks like they're facing 5 more years in prison. These are real lives. These are real people. And by dang, I'm angry about it. America, how long are we going to put up with this type of stuff? You know, it's time to stop. You know, here in this area, BLM's good to the ranchers here. They don't have a problem here out on the strip. Some good, decent people there. But the question is then, are they doing good? The question is, should they have the power to do good? If they've got the power to do good, they got the power to do bad. If they got the power to help, they have the power to destroy. They shouldn't have the power, period. Because look what they're doing over to that family, the Hammond family. It's outrageous. And I'm pretty dang angry about it. I'd like to use a lot stronger language, but my daughters and my wife probably watch this, and my mom, and so I'll refrain.
He wasn't a cussing man. Pretty dang mad. I remember the day he came home after making that video, and he showed it to me and asked me to upload it. I said, that's what you're going to title it? I'm dang mad? If they have the power to do good, they have the power to do bad, they shouldn't have the power to begin with. Amen. Amen.
My sort of kind of glaze over a little bit. Maybe I can bring it down to a little more emotional level or a human level. Each one of you here today are important. Individually, each one of you are important. Not collectively, we're talking about you as an individual, as a human being. The Hammond family are human beings. They're individuals. They have loved ones. They have children, grandchildren. You know, this is real. This affects real lives. And so that's why we're here today. And if our federal government would have abided by the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, we would have never have gotten here. And so let me just kind of come to a simple level of why this is so bad at the federal level. Our founding fathers had escaped from tyranny. They believed in freedom. And so when they set up our government, they separated the powers, didn't they? And we all know what they are. Executive, legislative, and judicial branches. We know those three branches of power. Well, what has happened to 1/3 of our landmass? Do you know the federal government owns and controls 1/3 of this nation? Let me put that in perspective. You need to put in the country of Germany, and put in France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and better throw in Great Britain too. And then you're getting about the same landmass as what the federal government says that they own and control. And they say they have complete legislative power whatsoever. And they've taken it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has upheld it. Yes, they have complete power whatsoever over 1/3 of this nation. Now, let me explain it simply as I can, as I try to stumble over my words here, is that for myself as a rancher, my ranch is in northern Arizona, a bureaucrat behind the desk can write a statute regarding me, my ranch. It has the force and effect of law. This bureaucrat is not accountable to me. We have not elected him there. Now, if I get contrary to that statute, there's a federal ranger with a gun that can enforce that. And if it goes from there, I am brought into a federal court. Neither the law enforcement, the federal ranger, has been elected by us, the people here. They are not under the power of the recall. Neither the bureaucrat that wrote the statute, neither the law enforcement that enforces it, and now I am hauled into a federal court. All three branches of power under one head with no representation. Did we not, as Americans, face this issue some 200 years ago? Don't we remember that phrase? Taxation without representation. So now here we are, control without representation. 1/3 of our landmass. It's an empire within our own country. Unaccountable, unelected. The real power is in the bureaucracies. And so that's kind of the simple part of it. You know, it's about family. It's about my family. It's about the Hammond family. I've spoken to many ranchers in Utah, in Nevada, in Arizona. They are all feeling the same thing. They're all feeling this oppression that is coming down upon them. Their livelihood is threatened, being taken away. Their ranches are being regulated out of business. And so this is real. These families are real. They're not trying to cause problems. They're food producers. They help make our country self-reliant, free, independent. Do you realize that you have to go back to about 1955 to get as low as the motherhead count as we have right now in the United States? Have any of you ate a steak lately? Do you know the price of that? That goes way up. You know, if we had more demand, if we had more production, we would ship out more, we would feed more, we would be self-reliant as a country. These are good people. They produce, they add to our country. They do not take it away. I want to say one more thing about here, what we're doing. Every one of you that says this is an occupation until their demands are met, you misunderstand. We're not making demands. We're not making demands. We're here to work. These buildings here belong to Harney County. These are Harney County public lands, the state of Oregon. This is theirs. This is their land. This is their state. It's theirs. And so we've come here to work, We've not come here to sit as children and stamp our feet and demand that certain things are met. We're going to go to work. We're going to try to help restore these ranchers that have lost their ranches back to them. We're going to legally go to the records. We're going to search out these ranchers. Over 100 ranchers have lost their ranches here in this very area, in this very county, have been pushed off. We would like to see them return to their ranches, ranch again, log again, live again as free people. And so we're here to try to help that happen. We're going to go to work. We're not going to just sit down here and twiddle our thumbs. We've got a lot to do, and I appreciate you being here. I'm just a simple hick, doing the best I can. I love this country. I love my kids. I love my wife. I love my family. And if we lose freedom, what shall they do? I want my children to experience real freedom, breathe free. Thank you.
Well, with the domestic terrorist you just watched from the government side.
Who are the real terrorists? Those men at Malheur were peacefully demonstrating and exercising their First Amendment right to speak and peacefully assemble and demonstrate. They weren't tearing up, burning down, damaging property. They were not hurting anyone physically. They were not threatening. George Bernard Shaw's definition of socialism or collective control is, quote, socialism reduced to its simplest legal and practical expression means the complete discarding of the institution of private property by transforming it into public property, and the division of the resultant income equally and indiscriminately among the entire population. Isn't that what we are watching here today in America? Are we not living witnesses to this taking place right here in the West? They are transforming our private property into public property. Are we a socialist country?
No.
Hell no.
We are becoming one. We must continue to stand. We must continue to fight against the theft of this property in this nation. We must stand. I love what President Trump said in his inaugural speech. He said, quote, what truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. End quote. It gives me hope. Doesn't that give you hope?
Yep.
Securing the rights and freedoms of the individual citizen is the most important function of the government, not securing more government. A French political economist, Frederick Basset, said, "Life, liberty, and property do not exist because men have made laws. On the contrary, it is the fact that life, liberty, and property existed beforehand that caused man to make laws in the first place." Thomas Jefferson asked, "Can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed their only firm basis, a conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are a gift of God?" Have we forgotten that? Rights are either God-given as part of the divine plan, or they are granted by government as part of a political plan. And so I ask, which is it? One of LaVoy's favorite people, President Ezra Taft Benson, said, quote, "The fight for freedom is God's fight. When a man stands for freedom, he stands with God. As long as he stands for freedom, he stands with God. And were he to stand alone, he would still stand with God. I testify that the God of heaven sent some of his choicest spirits to lay the foundation of this government, and he has sent other choice spirits, even you who read or hear my words today, to preserve it." End quote. God is the true author of liberty. God has given us our agency. God has provided this freedom here on this earth. We as a people need to remember that. We need to go back to our roots and recognize who the true author of liberty is. Are we willing? Are we able? Are we ready to help restore and preserve this God-given land and what God has given us? Many have asked, what can I do to help? There is so much to be done everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. But are we willing? Are we ready? I wasn't ready. When LaVoy was murdered, I was not ready to make this stand. I wasn't ready to be standing here. I had not prepared for what I am doing now. But I am now. It's not too late. I may not retain everything as well as I could if I was young. But it's not too late. It's not too late to stand and let our voices be heard for true and honest principles. We must have the courage to stand. We must stand. We must stand even if it's difficult, even if we're accused of being politically incorrect. Press forward. Ignore that garbage. Press forward. I remember one of the last things that LaVoy said to me as I got in the car to leave. He said to me, "Jeanette, have faith. Take courage. God is in charge." Well, I have faith, and I have courage, and I know that God is in charge. And that has brought such peace. It's given me strength to get through this year and to be out doing this. I know that He is with me. I know that LaVoy is here with me. There's a poem that's titled, I'm Only One. I'm only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. What I can do that I ought to do, and what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I shall do. I like that. I know that each of you can also get involved in your own sphere, in your own community, whether it's a school board or a city council, in your church, doing charity work. There is much to be done everywhere. And we are all different and diverse. We all have unique talents that God has given us to share. And so I encourage you, I implore you to get involved in this process of having our liberties restored. Our family months ago got together to create a family mission statement. You know, things were coming at us so fast. We didn't want to get sidetracked with what we wanted to accomplish as a family. And so we took the time to sit down as a collective group and decide where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do. And our mission statement reads as follows. We, the Finicum family, seek to better understand, maintain, and defend our God-given rights to further our eternal happiness. Will virtually let our voices be heard, educating on the principles of the Constitution, and our testimonies be seen for personal property rights, liberty and freedom, and one that has become ever more dear to us, the importance of life. It has helped us to have this, to stay focused, so that all that's coming at us doesn't distract us, and we can keep pressing forward with what I know was my husband's vision and dream, was to continue to teach. That's how he wanted to affect change, by taking what he had learned and going out and sharing it with others.
The night is far spent. The Constitution has been shredded. That it lives in your heart. You know what freedom is and what freedom isn't. Stand. Because when you stand, others will stand with you. And God can't stand with you if you don't stand. Once you stand, you can expect the hand of providence to be over you. Don't matter how it ends, it matters how you stand. This is LaVoy Finicum. One Cowboy stands for freedom. See you later.
So continue to stand, continue to be involved, continue to do the work, because we can't do it alone. We have to do it together. One man can make a difference. He did make a difference. difference because he was standing for God. He didn't have his priorities mixed up. He knew what he was doing and who he was doing it for. He was not doing it for fortune and fame. I want to introduce you to my family next, because they are our life's work. They are what I'm most proud of outside of my husband. And I know he's very proud of them and all that they've been doing to stand for liberty and to stand for this Constitution, and to stand with God doing it. So, Charity, can you help with that? First is our oldest daughter, Tara Tenney, and her son, Tommy and Morgan. And the next picture is a picture of Tara is married with 2 other children. That's why there were 4 boys in that first picture and a husband. The second picture is of our next daughter, Tiara Bell Collier, and she is not here because she just had that darling little baby there. She's about a week and a half old. Our next child is Robert Cantel Finicum, and his wife Haley, and his daughter Clara, and our newest little guy here, Elijah LaVoy. Our next daughter is Nojoni Tawny Hawk Crane. How do you love that name? Isn't that a wonderful name? Nojoni Tawny Hawk, and she's married with 4 little kids. Here's her newest one, Sophia Jeanette. Isn't that sweet? Ariana Marie Brown is next, and she's married to Kevin with 3 little boys, and this is her latest little boy. Yes, I'm sorry, Zane LaVoy. This is a test for Grandma, right? I'm supposed to remember all the names. Okay. I know. Our next daughter is Brittany Marie Beck. And her husband, Levi, is here. He's manning the booth back there. Wonderful man. And little Peyton in the picture, and our little granddaughter, Liberty. Isn't that fitting? Our next child is Mitch, and thank you, Brittany. Mitch. He's such a wonderful boy. I am so grateful to have him in our family. He is serving in Colorado for the Army, so that is why he's not here today. Our next son is Thomas Charles Kenny, and his wife Deidre, and his 2 little boys. Finicum Finch, with all 4 of her little kids there, and her husband Spencer. And then James Scott Finicum. He is another wonderful young man that we have in our family. And our next daughter, Danielle Finicum. There you are. This is Danielle. I'm so glad that you did appear, because sometimes she's our quiet one, and we would always leave her because she was so quiet. Oh my goodness, and we would feel so bad. And our caboose, our glue, we call her because she belongs to everybody, Tian Finicum. This is our family. And from From our family to you, we want to say that we love you and we thank you for coming. And, oh, yes, thank you. I have so many helpful children because they know me. They know I get nervous and forget things. This is why my husband stood. I have 25 grandchildren. We don't have them all here, but we have 25. Our America needs to be fixed for them, right? I see a lot of grandparents here. And we have one last video. Wasn't that beautiful? Again, thank you for coming. And we have the best for last. Can I say that about you, Chris? I'm going to turn the mic over to Trent.
Live stream the back of your head. You were live streaming the back of my head.
Once again, the Finicum family, ladies and gentlemen, please give your appreciation. Just as a quick follow-up, as Chris Ann's making her way up here, LaVoy spoke of not just the livelihoods, but what it is that the ranchers do every day. If the federally owned land with the rights by the federal lands grazers was utilized properly, the cattle would produce 110 million protein meals annually in the United States. It's currently, at my estimation, about 20% of that because it's not being managed properly. That's what LaVoy was speaking about. That puts it in numbers. And I think we need to, and by the way, when you manage the land properly, you don't burn up 54 homes in Grant County because you have a fire that the government can't control. Or chose not to. With that, there was one.
I'm going to sign off, guys.
Chris Ann Hall probably needs no introduction whatsoever to this audience.